Hello, I'm Dan. Welcome back to Vinyl Fury. Going to continue on with this recent vinyl update. Uh, One of my favorite bands, especially in the alternative rock genre, is Handsome. They put out one record in 1997. It was kind of a supergroup of sorts, especially that type of music. And I, for some reason, did not know that there had been a couple of singles released before they did that album. And I found them on Discogs for I think less than 15 total, the two of them, and that was awesome because these are different versions of songs from that record, and they're really cool to have. This one is a single for Swimming, which actually came out on Sub Pop, and this one is Can't Connect as the B-side, which I don't think it wasn't on the record, and I don't think it was on the B-sides from that record. So I had never heard that song before, which was great. And the other one is for the song Needles, which is also on that record, but this is a different version. And the B-side is Waiting, which is also same story. And this is a pretty interesting cover. It looks like it would be a very different band than it is, maybe more of like a punk rock band, but again, this was really cool to discover, and also very cool to get them for much cheaper than I was expecting when I did discover that they were out there. So awesome to get not new music, but more music from one of my favorite bands, which didn't have a lot of music out there to begin with. So, and I don't have a lot of 7 inches. I find they don't sound very good, but I was very pleased with the way that those sounded, actually. When I ordered the Abel Baker Fox record from Germany, from Arctic Rodeo, they also put out this. But because I ordered them together, I didn't get this one until Abel Baker Fox was released. So I got it a couple months after it initially came out, but I hadn't heard the whole thing when I got this. So the band is called Camorra, which I think that they've had some trouble with, given that that was affiliated with Mob. And actually some of the PayPal payments were held given the association with the name. So I found that kind of interesting. But it's called Morning Resistance Celebration, and this is a 10-inch on a nice kind of greenish blue teal vinyl, which is nice. And this also comes with unlimited art print, which I love this. 200 of these, and this is, it looks like 149. The 9 and the 4 look very similar, but I believe it's 149 out of 200. And signed by the artist as well. That's really cool. That band is Jonah Matranga from Bar and a slew of bands. One of my favorite singers and songwriters. And Jay Robbins, who is from Jawbox, and also I think Zach from Jawbox. And Jawbox is another one of those bands that was a part of the scene that I really like and was very influential to a lot of bands that I really like, but I still haven't really gotten into Jawbox, which I really should. But it's a collaboration between those guys, and it's meant to be politically themed, which is very apparent in the lyrics. And Jonah's been involved with several kind of seemingly one-off studio projects with members of other bands from the same scene as Far, and they seem to come out, and I've never seen, there's been several of these projects, and it seems like it's just they put out this studio thing and then that's it. I don't know if there's more coming from Camorra, But I dig the songs. There's 5 songs on the EP, and I'll leave a link to check them out. And a few jazz albums, 2 of which are most definitely classics that I've been meaning to get for quite some time. First of all is Mingus Ahum by Charlie Mingus. And I have been meaning to get this for quite a while, and I've looked at reissues that I've seen, and there seem to be a lot of conflicting reports of how good they were. And it seemed like the best idea would be to find some sort of reissue, pre-digital, that would be hopefully less than a reissue, but of better quality. So that decision means that it's taken a while to actually find something like that. But I came across this just the other day, and it's a 70s reissue, as far as I can tell, from Columbia, and it sounds great. And of course, the album is classic. It was $18, and overall, I think that's pretty good. It's in good shape. So finally got to put this in the collection. Very good. And also, Ornette Coleman, The Shape of Jazz to Come, which I've also been meaning to get for quite some time. This is a reissue, a recent one, and this is from Hermitage, I think is how you would say that. And this reissue is from 2016, and I also read conflicting reports about this label in general. However, I couldn't find a whole lot about it. But it was very reasonably priced. I want to say it was like $15, $14, $15. So I said, let's just give it a shot. I mean, there's either same route as the Mingus, wait to come across a decent used copy that's not original, because that's pretty expensive and hard to find in good condition, and not, an analog special reissue that's $50. Both of these albums have had those, and I know they're great, but I'm not going to spend that much money. Or roll the dice with one of these reissues. And thankfully, this, I thought, sounded great. The pressing quality was nice, and it did not have, although I'm sure it comes from a digital source, I didn't find it to sound digital. I thought it was warm sounding, very dynamic. And really, I don't have anything to complain about. So this worked out very, very well. And I loved the music. And there you go. Success story. Ornette Coleman, The Shape of Jazz to Come. If anyone has any thoughts or comments or insight on this label, I'd love to hear it. And the last record, which I believe I got this at the same time as the Coleman, is another Sonny Stitt. This is Only the Blues, and I think this is originally from the 50s. Should have looked that up. Actually, recently I had somebody request that I put the name of the record and information on the screen like I used to, but that's just another thing that takes time when I do these, and I already do enough stuff that takes too much time, which is part of the reason that I rarely do them anymore. But that's a pretty reasonable request, and I believe English was a second language to him, which is the reason that he asked for it. But I'm pretty sure even a lot of native English speakers probably have a hard time understanding me sometimes. So totally understandable, and I will put that here along with the original release date of this record. But this is a 1981 Japanese pressing, mono pressing, originally on Verve. It even has the strip still intact, barely, but it's there. And I've been buying Sonny Stitt records for a long time, and I have a lot of them. But in the same way that I'm kind of treating my entire collection, I'm going for a more finely curated, but yet substantial collection. I don't need to keep everything, and I certainly don't need to buy everything. So with the Sonny Stitt collection, I recently got rid of, I think, 9 or 10. I traded them to get some other stuff. And I've been more picky with what I do pick up and trying to lead towards the older stuff from the 50s and 60s. I have less of that than I do like the 70s stuff. So, but this record was great. Oscar Peterson's on piano. The pressing, of course, is wonderful. I think this is the third or maybe fourth Japanese pressing of Sonny Stitt records that I've found, and I love them. So that was definitely worth the pickup. And now for some records that I chose or opted not to get on vinyl and to get on another format due to price differences or lack of quality difference, especially for the price, which I've talked about pretty recently. The new At the Drive-In record, Inter Alia. I think this thing does autofocus, but first record in 17 years. They've recently been on tour, reunited, and I certainly didn't expect this to ever exist, but as opposed to the Refused album that came out years and years after they broke up, which was kind of just fine, it was okay, and I've only listened to once, maybe twice. This is great. I love this. It sounds like they picked up right where they left off with Relationship of Command, which of course is a phenomenal record. And this is great. I actually did buy it on vinyl, but found the sound quality to be less than stellar. I forget, there was a specific sound issue that stuck out to me. And I was just listening to it going, it doesn't sound right. And so I picked it up on CD, and it sounded a lot better, actually. I think it's mixed really well. It's very, very separated, but and clear. Some might even say too polished, but I think it works just fine. I opted to put the vinyl on Discogs and went with the CD, and I think that's fine. Loved the record. I saw them play last year, and again, I was very pleasantly surprised. They were very energetic and bombastic, just like they used to be, and they sounded great. And I'm really glad that they're back. And I actually just saw that they're releasing an EP on Record Store Day, Black Friday, with I think 3 new songs. So this I got because the price difference was just ridiculous. But I really enjoy Norma Jean. They're a very heavy hardcore band, and this is called Polar Similar. The vinyl was pretty much $30, $35, depending. I have not seen it for less than 27, 28, something like that. And nothing about it said that would be worth it. It's typical Pirates Press colored vinyl, but really no reason for it to be that much. So I said, no thanks, and I got the CD, and it's a nice matte finish LP style fold out. And I'd say that was definitely the right way to go. It's like I said, they're a heavy, loud band, And I'm pretty sure that the record would not sound significantly better or much better at all than the CD. I enjoy the record though. Just more great heavy music from Norma Jean. I still have some of their, I think 3 of their albums on vinyl, but it's just one of those things where, is it worth it? And on this one, I think it was pretty clear. Like $10 for the CD. I think I might even got that for like $8 versus 28, 30 for the record. Nope. So, oh yeah, 2 more on cassette this time. The new Iron and Wine, Beast Epic, which is awesome. This is a red cassette. This was like $7. And I had heard, I think, 1 track before I bought this, and I really liked it. There's 2 versions of it on vinyl. One is a double LP deluxe version, and I think there's some demos on that. And then the single LP version, which you can get for about $20. It's fairly reasonable. But I don't know, I felt like going this route, seeing what happened. I loved the record. It's much more in line with his first several albums, mostly acoustic guitar. He kind of did some experimenting with the previous couple, which just didn't quite do it for me, but this was lovely. And if I do find that the vinyl version maybe used or something for a reasonable price, I'll eventually get that, I think. And I actually just saw him play this a couple days ago, and it was awesome. I even drove a couple of hours out of town because the show here in Portland sold out. And so I made a night of it, and it was great. His band was great. I kind of expected him to be kind of quiet and reserved, but he was very affable and funny, and did a lot of exchanging with the crowd, and he seemed like he was having a great time. Yeah, it was a really great show, one of the best I've seen in a while. So yeah, I definitely recommend the new Iron and Wine. I also got the new Mute Math. It's called Play Dead. This is a totally clear cassette, and this was, based on price. There's also 2 versions of this: a deluxe, which is really just colored double LP, and a normal one, which again is not incredibly expensive. It's about $20, but again, this was like $8. And I listened to the record digitally, and I liked most of it. I just didn't feel like paying $20 for an album that, I don't know if I'll listen to it that much. A lot of these songs, though, are some of their best in a while. Their last record, I liked, like a third of it. They've been pretty hit or miss for me since their first record, which is still really awesome. But yeah, both of these sound pretty decent on tape, and I do enjoy this just enough to get this. I don't think I'll end up getting it on vinyl, but yeah, there we go. I've rambled on again. So thanks for watching. As always, I'm terribly behind on watching the channels that I subscribe to. There just seems to be so many of them and just not enough time. But I hope I can change that, start keeping up, and then even if I don't add as much music to my collection as I used to, should try to find a way to do this more. maybe it will help me listen to more music. I really haven't been listening to as much music lately. So maybe I'll start, I don't know, I don't want to say make myself. I love music and I love listening to it. It hasn't been as much of my daily activities as it used to be. But maybe I should make it so. And then come on and talk about some records that I listened to or something like that. Just thinking aloud here. Speaking of cassettes, actually, before I go, I have actually put into production a very limited pressing of an album of my music. An album that I've talked about before, but we're kind of re-releasing it, relaunching it into the world. And it's kind of been kind of my pet project recently. I did a remastering effort and did some special artwork layout and finally got it all finished up and sent for production. So I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to turn around. I don't think it'll be actually that long. But I look forward to getting those back and coming back here to tell you about it and show it to you. Pretty excited about it. And even if we don't sell any, I'm really looking forward to it physically existing in the world. And I think the final product is going to be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And I will come back and share that with you. Until then, again, thank you for watching. Take care. Until next time.